guys, this is Jennifer Schaefer, People's Realtor of Colorado, coming back to you today as the spring is finally coming in Colorado and it's getting warmer. More importantly, I'm here today with Robert Greene's 13th law of power. When asking people for help, appeal to their self-interest, never their mercy or gratitude. And this is a fantastic law. Of course, you may be thinking, if you've seen all the other videos, especially Law 8 and Law 11, which I highly recommend, that this is kind of a no-brainer. You've already considered the importance of using empathy to understand the other side and use that information to your own advantage for leverage or to get a better deal in a real estate negotiation. But this particular law is so important and so foundational that it really is worth highlighting on its own, and particularly applying to something that we haven't covered in a lot of depth, which is post-closing occupancy agreements, which are becoming more and more common. And just in case anyone's not familiar, a post-closing occupancy agreement allows the home seller to continue to possess and live in the home for some time, maybe a month, maybe 60 days after closing. And in this particular seller's market, it is so easy and so dangerous to fall into the trap of developing a sense of entitlement, that any buyer is lucky to get a good house for a good price in this market. And in that case, you can develop a really unattractive and potentially self-damaging sense of entitlement that a buyer should be willing to understand or willing to accept whatever terms you have. And it may even seem reasonable to expect that the other side is going to show mercy or gratitude because you have to move a lot of heavy furniture and appliances out of a home that you've lived in for years, on top of the stress that normally comes with moving. And the truth is, yes, it's great if people have mercy or gratitude for you. That's not something that you should ever expect. You don't have a right to expect that from the other party, because in any business negotiation, especially a real estate transaction, they're coming in with the mindset, understandably and fairly, that they should be treated as equals, and the only thing that they owe you is fair and honest dealing. So in that case, mercy and gratitude are not going to work in your favor. You can do so much better by being respectful of the other party, and importantly, by understanding how to appeal to their self-interest. So in the one case, when you are a seller who, down in the middle of a real estate negotiation, you don't tell buyers up front that you are going to need an extra 2 months. You spring that on them in the middle of the closing process. You can lose your best and highest offers. It does happen, and honestly, it happens for a pretty good reason. Because if a buyer can't trust you and you're changing the rules in the middle of the game, they can end up wanting to move to another place or even put off buying entirely rather than put up with someone's BS. So the much, much better alternative is, number one, if you need extra time to live in a home after closing, understand that the default in any market, even a seller's market, the default assumption is that once a buyer closes on a home, it belongs to them. They should be able to possess the property, move in, and do with it as they please. So, number one, be upfront. Do not spring this on a buyer in the middle of a closing process. You definitely want to tell them before they're submitting offers, preferably in the listing agreement, or at the very least when they are demonstrating interest, maybe coming to showings, let them know up front that you need extra time. And the best part, the best time to, number one, let them know this, and number two, demonstrate that this actually works in their self-interest, is when they ask that oh so common question, what's the catch? Because if a buyer truly is interested and they feel that a price for a home is fair or even better than fair, then it is absolutely natural and common to ask, either quietly or out loud, what is the catch? And then if they do, you can come in with the perfect answer, which is to say, I actually factored in the fact that I'm going to need a post-closing occupancy agreement for 30 days or 60 days, and let them know why. Give them a reason that they can understand and empathize with, which is you have a lot of heavy appliances or heavy furniture that will take some time to disconnect. You may have services that you have to transfer, and it does take time. But you have gone the extra step of considering the buyer's needs by pricing this property accordingly, essentially discounting it when you potentially could have jacked it up in order to be fair to the buyer, to compensate them for their sacrifices and concessions. That is why. That is the catch. You have already priced in the extreme inconvenience of a buyer, number one, paying for a mortgage on this new home that they really want to move into, on top of all the other costs that come with closing on a home, and continuing to pay their rent or their mortgage on their current residence for an additional 1 or 2 months. That is definitely something that you should compensate a buyer for. And if you tell them the reason why this home is priced low is that I have this other factor that I wanted to take into consideration because I wanted to be fair and reasonable, you are so much less likely to alienate good buyers who present the best offers if you present a post-closing occupancy agreement in that way, and always practice Robert Greene's 13th law of power when asking for help. Appeal to people's self-interest, never their mercy or gratitude. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. It's always beneficial to be reminded to keep an ego in check and not feel entitled to someone else's business or that you can impose their will on them at any moment. I'm Jennifer Schaefer, People's Realtor of Colorado, and if you did like this video, please hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and absolutely, if you are thinking of buying or selling property in the state of Colorado, please do reach out to me through my website or social media, which are linked in the description below. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you for the next episode. Bye-bye.